Have you dreamed of bigger things for your life? Then you are in the right place. Each week, you will be given tips on how to change your inner dialogue, conquer your goals, and ways to step into a higher version of yourself. I'm your host, Lauren Kubat. I'm a motivational speaker who hosts personal development events. I'm a sought-after fitness instructor, a wife, and a mom of 2 young boys. I'm obsessed with all things personal development, and I believe anyone can achieve the life they want. Let the Become Your Vision podcast be the inspiration you need to step into greater things. Now let's go. Hi there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening to the show. I am so thankful that you are here and that you chose me to listen to today. So today's topic is all about coping with anxiety. And I don't know one person who has not experienced anxiety, unfortunately. And it's something we need to talk about. Anxiety is much higher this year, due to COVID. It's the year of 2020. And it also may be heightened around the holidays. I'm recording this right before Christmas. And if you're like me, you have a long to-do list, you have a million people to buy for, and it feels like this to-do list keeps getting longer and longer. So before we get into the meat of this show today, I'm going to share the review of the week. This one comes from I Love/Hate School. And here she says, Lauren Kubat speaks from the heart, helps you stay focused, and bridges the gap between goals and reality. This young woman has paved the way to a better you, not only physically, but mentally. And this person continues on in their review. And I just want to say thank you so much. Let me know if this is you, and I will send you a gift card to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts. And you guys, I hope you know how much these reviews mean to me. I actually screenshot them and keep them in a folder on my phone. And anytime I'm having a bad day or just need some encouragement, I read these reviews again. And unfortunately, you can't leave a review unless you are a Apple owner. You can only leave them on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, but you can always steal somebody else's phone that has an Apple phone and leave a review there too if you really want to get crafty. But anyway, let's talk about anxiety. There are different levels of anxiety. There's anxiety that you can live with and still go on with your day, and then there's more severe anxiety that can actually stop you right in your tracks. And you don't care who is watching or, what your body looks like. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. And I actually know somebody that when she has so much anxiety, she basically has this out-of-body experience, and it feels like chest pains and feels out of control. But anxiety is a fear of worry. It's a fear of what might happen. And I want to read you this quote. It is, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. And it's by Jen Sincero from her book, You Are a Badass. And how true is that? The funny thing about anxiety is it's based on something that might happen. It's not necessarily true. It's a story we create and validate with made-up scenarios. We think things like, if this happened, then that might happen. And it's a spiral of fear. And what ends up happening by worrying about the future, we are taking away from the present, and you are robbing yourself of time. How sad is that? This is precious time on earth that we can't get back. You can't buy your time back. So I want you to do some unveiling of what anxiety feels like for you, and I will provide you with some support for that. So recently I had a meetup. I had meetups once a month. It's for women to come together and connect, and I have them via Zoom or in person. And this one we had in person. We haven't had a live meetup in quite some time, but the topics change each month. And I asked the ladies to write on a Post-it note what anxiety feels like to them. And these are the answers that I got. So I got repetitive thinking, shortness of breath, dizziness, chest pains, unease, feeling on edge, angry, irritable, restlessness, and lack of control. Wow, those are some crazy emotions. Not crazy, but emotions that we don't want to feel, right? So is that what anxiety feels like to you? Because I definitely feel shortness of breath and on edge when I'm experiencing anxiety. And now, if anxiety doesn't feel like that to you, I want you to get very clear on what it does feel like. I want you to pause me and reflect on those feelings if you can't do that while you are listening to me. And the reason for that, the reason why I think it's so important that you actually get very clear on your feelings of anxiety so you can better cope with your emotions when those feelings start coming on. And after you get very clear about what this anxiety feels like, I want you to think about your triggers. What are your triggers for anxiety? And the important part about this is if you know your triggers, you can minimize or prevent your anxiety from escalating or even happening. So personally for me, my triggers are when I'm trying something new, when I'm off my routine, the time of the month, my diets, lack of sleep, lack of time to myself. Your triggers might be lack of support, being around people who are highly anxious and you are an empath. And what that means is you take on their worry and you start to feel the same emotions that you feel like. Or another trigger might be a messy environment. Your house, your car, your desk is a mess and you feel like out of control. Okay, so get very clear on your triggers because you want to minimize this feeling, okay? You don't want to be robbed of your time on this earth. Okay, so the next step, sorry, I have a dog in the background. It's my mom's dog. If you've listened to previous episodes, this dog is still with me. If Satan had a dog, this would be Satan's dog. But anyway, they're licking in the back. So hopefully you don't hear that. This dog causes me anxiety. Anyway, so the next step is sorting out your thoughts based on whether they are rational or irrational. So rational thoughts are based on facts, and irrational thoughts are ones that most likely hinder you. So I'm going to use an example here. So I have anxiety. Obviously, we're talking about that. But one of the hardest types of anxiety that I have experienced is social anxiety. And my social anxiety got really bad in college. And I didn't know what my triggers were. I felt like it was coming out of nowhere. I didn't know how to cope. And I thought I wasn't normal. And this was a feeling just very alone. I felt very alone. Like I said, I didn't know how to cope. And it was a very dark time for me. I was ignoring calls from family and friends, and it was hard for me to see the light. And I actually sought out professional help. But some of my irrational thoughts that I had when I was experiencing social anxiety was, what if I say something wrong? Like I was imagining being in my next social event, whether that was going to class or being around a group of friends. I was thinking like, what if you say something stupid? What if they think you're stupid? What if they don't invite you anywhere, again? And a more rational thought that I wish I'd known at the time would have been, if a person does not like me, they weren't meant to. You aren't made for everyone, and that's okay. So thank goodness I know what my triggers are, and I know when this type of anxiety is coming on, so I can replace them with more rational thoughts. Again, irrational thoughts are ones that hinder you. They're not true. They're based on stories that you've created in your head. So I want to use another example here. So if you have a loved one, or maybe it's you that is sick, okay? And let's use the example of somebody else, okay? And you have this repetitive thought of like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. What are we going to do? So on and so forth, okay? And you just have these spiral of thoughts. I want you to take on the role of one that serves. I want you to ask yourself, how can I make this person feel comfortable? What can I do to take, a job off their plate? Maybe it's their laundry, maybe it's cooking. Or what can I do to brighten their day and let them know that I am thinking about them? But what happens in return, you are feeling like you are doing and that you have purpose. And worry comes from lack of control. So by putting yourself in the position of being someone who serves, you become in control again and you are taking action and you feel less helpless. Okay. So now it's time to focus on things that are true and replacing the repetitive thoughts that are filled with angst to ones that are actually true. So I want to give you some examples of rational thoughts, ones that will serve you. So depending on your beliefs, I want you to say to yourself, the universe, higher power, or God, so fill in the blank, will never abandon me. I will always be loved. I am breathing. I am warm. I have shelter. I have enough food. I have done hard things before and I am strong. I will never fail and stay down because I am a fighter. So these thoughts that I mentioned are ones that will help you. And these are thoughts that will get you through a dark time. Have these thoughts on repeat, like a freaking song that you're listening to in the radio. Put them on a Post-it. Anywhere that you need it, have it posted right there so you can just repeat when you are having negative thoughts. Another example. So going back to the feeling of a messy house, this is definitely a trigger for me. I want you to think of times when you are experiencing anxiety and it's time to take action and do things that support you when you are triggered. Okay, so now these are not just thoughts. These are things of doing. So if you have a messy house, can you ask for help? Can you ask for help? I know, ladies, that is something that is very hard for us to do, is asking for help. Nope, we want to be super women. We want to do everything by ourselves. And what ends up happening is we feel like we're drowning and that we have to do it all. Ask for help. You can also appreciate the help that is giving without finding fault. Listen, if you ask your kids for help and they actually, try to help you, but it's actually a crappy job, can you look at the situation and be like, okay, they tried, they did the best they can without finding fault. Like, they didn't do it right. Or my husband missed this spot. Try to appreciate the help that is given. Maybe you are in a place financially where you can hire someone. Or maybe you can clean the area even though you aren't the one that created it, and look at it in a different set of eyes. Like, you know what? Yes, it's a mess, but I'm thankful that I get to clean up this mess. Or there are times when you just have to remove yourself from that space completely in order to calm yourself. There are plenty of times where I'm like, I'm going to a place in this house that is not messy, and that's my room, and I'm just going to remove myself from that situation. Do that. There's nothing wrong with that. And I believe in most cases, you can create a sense of peace even when you're in a highly stressful area. And you can create this peace in your head even if you're looking at a stressful area. So that might be putting on a candle. So maybe you're at home and you're like, yeah, this house is a mess, but I'm going to light a candle and it's going to at least smell good in here, okay? Maybe that's taking a bath. Or if you're at work, setting your computer backdrop. Maybe it's to a vacation that you experienced in the past and you're like, that was a great time. I can't wait until a time that I can go on vacation again. COVID is all gone. We don't have to worry about that. And put up a picture of a past vacation or a vacation that you want to take, and it'll give you something to look forward to. Maybe it's smelling oils. I know tons of ladies that are into essential oils. Take out that lavender or whatever calms you and sniff it, okay? Or maybe it's getting out in nature. I know it's really cold in some areas of the United States. Even if it's just getting out for a quick second and just practicing breathing. Look up at the stars, look up at the sun, sit on your porch when it's raining and just smell the outdoors, okay? Dimming the lights. This is huge. There are times we have this light in our room, and it's like this fluorescent light that just needs to be replaced. But right next to my bed is a lamp that just gives off this warm light. And I prefer this lamp instead of the fan light. And I'll turn off that fan light and I'll put on this warm, cozy, ambiance creating lamp, and it will just like calm me. It's like it puts me at ease. So if you are in a place where you can change the lighting, I highly suggest that, okay? When I was a teacher, a lot of the times I would turn off the light, and this would create a sense for my students too, a sense of calming. And I brought in a lamp from home, and I would set that up, and we would read or do activities to a light that was just calming, and the kids became more calm. You can also do breath work. Journaling has been huge for me this year. Obviously, listening to a podcast or a book on Audible. And you know, I'm a big preacher of exercise. I am a group fitness instructor, and I know how much exercise has helped me. And speaking of exercise, you are in luck because I have put together 6 weeks of workouts that you can do at home or at the gym. I know that gyms have shut down the beginning of the year, and some areas are starting to shut down again. So these workouts will help you stay fit no matter where you are at. So with this program, you get a total of 18 workouts, which breaks down to 3 plans a week. That is, so a total of 6 weeks for $45. And the reason why I chose 3 plans a week is if you are just easing into a workout regimen, I highly suggest starting with 3 days so you don't feel overwhelmed. Or if you are already part of a workout program, this is great to add on to that one that is already existing. And it also leaves days open so you can do a walking day or a cardio day or riding, a bike day. And for many of you, $45 is cheaper than a membership. And the best part is that you will always have access to these workouts because I send them in a document, in an email, and you can print them or leave them on your phone. But with the workouts, you also receive pictures so that you know what each exercise is. You don't have to go hunting down Google to figure out what a tricep overhead extension is. And you can do body weight exercises to the plan I give you, or you can use weights, or you can get crafty and find things around the house like a milk jug, fill it with water and use that as a weight. And I know some of you didn't work out during the shutdowns because you didn't know what to do. And these plans will be something that you don't even have to think about. You just have to pull up. So if this sounds like you, I will leave more information in the show notes. Okay. I understand there are places that are going to be highly stressful, and creating peace will be a challenge. When I think of these places, I think of the DMV and the long ass line at Walmart. Walmart is definitely an anxiety trigger for me. I feel like I'm in line forever. I feel out of control. People are bugging me. But how I create peace when I am in a very anxious setting is one, like I said, I will listen to podcasts, and then I will do things that I have on my to-do list that I can check off while I'm waiting in line. And some of those things some of those things are creating my grocery list for next time. Okay. So most of the time I do grocery pickup. So it is very rare that I am in Walmart or any other store unless I need a few odds and ends. I highly suggest that it's free. You just go to whatever your grocery store is. A lot of places have these, and you just create your list online and then you pick them up from the store. They will bring the groceries to your car. It's amazing. But when I do actually have to shop, I will create my list for next time. I will send a text message to somebody letting them know that I'm thinking about them. The point is to make your time valuable, okay? And I will also I don't know where I was going with that thought. I don't know. Maybe it'll come back to me. We're not going to worry about that. But try to make the best out of your time. Okay, before we leave, I want to give you some resources. So I read this book. I listened to this book because I listen to books. I rarely have time to read. And as a busy mom, I enjoy learning, but I like to listen to books. So this book is called 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do, and it's by Amy Morin, and she's a psychotherapist, and she has a sad story. She lost her mother, and she was very young when she lost her mother, in her 20s. And then 3 years later, she lost her husband. Her husband was like 27, and he had a heart attack at a basketball game. So crazy. And she created this list of things that mentally strong people don't do. And I'm going to read you 4. Number 1 is they don't waste energy on things they can't control. So that goes back to that wasting of time. If you can't control it, try not to spend so much time on trying to. The second one is they don't let their emotions control them. The third one is they don't feel sorry for themselves. And the fourth one is they don't give away their power. So if somebody is causing you to have anxiety, you are giving that person the power to do so. You're giving that to them. You're letting them control your emotions. Take your power back. So I thought those tips would be, or those statements would help you. Another great resource if you are into breathing, even if you're not into like breathing exercise, I highly suggest this one. There's a gentleman called Wim Hof, Wimhoff, and he has breathing exercises on YouTube. And they're about 14 minutes long. You guys, if I'm being completely honest, I've only made it through about 3 minutes. And this is an exercise you have to lay down, and because you're going to feel a little bit lightheaded, but they freaking work. I use these breathing exercises anytime I'm having an event and I have to be around people. I'll do it right before the event, and I'll do these breathing exercises. Wim Hof. And the third thing is you can have a happy journal. Frida, if you're listening, this was her suggestion. Anytime she has something happy to her happen to her, she will write it in a journal and she'll go back to it when she is having a hard time. So that is the show. You are in control, you guys. You are not alone. Control what you can and let go of what you can't. If you like this episode, please leave a review or share it with a friend. If you can't leave a review, like if you listen to this on Spotify, you don't know how much it means to me to have you share it with a friend, post it on social media that you love this show. Thank you so much for listening, and please remember, you got this. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you love this episode, make sure you are subscribed so you know when more episodes come available. My goal is to inspire others to become their vision, and one way to get the word out is with reviews. I would really appreciate it if you left an honest review on iTunes, and it would mean so much to me. Thanks again, and remember to go after the life you want. Bye, guys.